स्वं बोधमात्रं परिशुद्धतत्त्वं विज्ञाय संघे नृपवच्च सैन्ये तदात्मनैवात्मनि सर्वदा स्थितो विलापय ब्रह्मणि विश्वजातम्।
अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल शिव अरुणाचल।
सत्यचिद्घनमनन्तमद्वयम् सर्वदृश्यरहितं निरामयम् यत्पदं विमलमद्वयं शिवम् तत्सदाहमिति मौनमाश्रये। पूर्णमद्वयमखण्डचेतनम् विश्वभेदकलनादिवर्जितम् अद्वितीयपरसंविदंशकम् तत्सदाहमिति मौनमाश्रये। जन्ममृत्युसुखदुःखवर्जितम् जातिनीतिकुलगोत्रदूरगम् चिद्विवर्तजगतोऽस्य कारणम् तत्सदाहमिति मौनमाश्रये।
उपासकानां यदुपासनीयम् उपात्तवासं वटशाखिमूले तद्धाम दाक्षिण्यजुषा स्वमूर्त्यां जागर्तु चित्ते मम बोधरूपम् अद्राक्षमक्षीणदयानिधानम् आचार्यमाद्यं वटमूलभागे मौनेन मन्दस्मितभूषितेन महर्षिलोकस्य तमोनुदन्तं विद्राविताशेषतमो गणेन मुद्राविशेषेण मुहुर्मुनीनां निरस्यमायां दयया विधत्ते देवो महान् तत्त्वमसीति बोधम् ममाद्यदेवो वटमूलवासी कृपाविशेषात् कृतसन्निधानः ओङ्काररूपाम् उपदिश्य विद्याम् आविद्यगध्वान्तमपाकरोतु। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुत्यर्थगोचरं वन्दे वाच्यार्थानामगोचरं लक्ष्यार्थवपुषं वन्दे शङ्करं देशिकं गुरुम्। अपारसच्चित्सुखवारिराशेः यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। Deham mridmayavajjadatmakamaham buddhirna tasyastyato Naham tattadabhava supti samaye siddhatma sadbhavataham Koham bhavayutah kuto varadhiya drishtvatmanishtatmanam Soham spurtitaya arunachala shivah purno vibhati swayam Yontah pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam Sanjeevayatyakila shaktidharaswadhamna Anyamsha hastacharana-shravanatvagaadin Pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. Yesterday we started this Swadhyaya of Vivekachudamani. As it happens in every spiritual text, in this Grantha also, Bhagavad Pada began the work with Guru-stuti. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tam Agocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmiham. One of the very beautiful verses on Guru. Although Shankaracharya is referring to Govindam Paramanandam, his Guru is Govinda Bhagavad Pada. But all the Lakshanas, the attributes, or we can say Lakshana, Swarupa Lakshana, nature of Guru Tattvam is same. Guru is one's own inner self, the Atma. But that kind of recognition of Guru as one's own Atma happens only when one recognizes one's own Atma. Till then, as long as one considers oneself as the physical body, one will look at the Guru also as the physical body. As long as one is identifying with one's mind, he will be looking at Guru's mind also, the intellect also. But when there was one saint in Rishikesh, very well known saint, Swami Ramsukadas Maharaj. He once said, whether the father comes before or the son, what will you say? Then what will you say? Generally we will say father. But actually only when the son is born, that person becomes father. Like that, when jnanam happens, the form which was causal for that jnanam becomes Guru. So the real Guru Tattva manifests when realization happens. Till then it is Upaguru. So here Bhagavad Pada is speaking about the Sadguru. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam. If you want to see that Guru, you have to see that Guru through the Jnanam. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta means Vedanta Jnanam. Bhagavan speaks about Arunachala. We very easily think if you come to Tiruvannamalai, you can see Arunachala. Bhagavan says the same thing. He says, Vedantate Vilangum. Veru ara Vilangum. Veda Porul Arul Arunachala. He says, if you want to see Arunachala, you can see Arunachala only in Vedanta. Vedante means in Vedanta means in the Upanishads. And how do you see Arunachala? Where are, not as the hill outside, but as the Tan, the self within. He shines forth as your own self in your heart. Then you have really seen Arunachala. We have already spoken about Kashi also like this. Shankaracharya said, if you come to Kashi, Kashi will shine within you. And one who has seen that Kashi also has come to Kashi. Only has come to Kashi. Kashyam hi kashate Kashi. Kashi sarva prakashika. Kashi means that luminosity, that effulgence which enlivens everything. Sa Kashi viditayena. One who knows that Kashi, tena praptahi Kashika. Only he has come to Kashi. So like that, the true Guru Tattva becomes alive only when one comes to contact with the light within. Guru actually means light. So this much is enough now. We have finished that. So now we are beginning again the Mahatmya of Jnanam. Not the real text. The Mahatmya of Jnanam. Mahatmya, glory of human birth. So we will see the verse. Jantunam narajan madurlabhamataha Pumstvam tato viprata Tasmad Vaidika dharma marga parata Vidvatvamasmat param Atmanatma vivechanam svanubhavaha Brahmatmana samsthitihi Muktirno shatakoti shatajanma koti sukritaihi Punyairvina labhyate. So in the beginning, Shankaracharya is saying, as we said yesterday, this is a very traditional text. So generally, Vedanta Shastra, the Upanishad, those who are longing for liberation, they come to the Upanishad teaching after finishing all the former Vedic study. After performing all the rituals, everything. After finishing everything, they will generally, the dispassion comes, the mind becomes pure. Bhagavan also says the same thing. Kriti maho dadhau patana karanam phalam ashashvatam gati nirodhakam Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam. You perform the actions as an offering to Ishvara, the mind becomes pure. When the mind is pure, the sign of purity is this longing for realization arises. And dispassion arises. Vairagyam also arises. So, this is the sign. So here, Shankaracharya says, Jantunam. Jantu means what? In Tamil, if somebody you don't like him, you call him Jantu. Jantu means creature. Ja, that dhatu means to be born. From that only in English also we say germinate. So, Jantu is Jayate iti Jantuhu. Whoever is born is a Jantu. without jnanam, everyone is jantu. Only a jantu. Just you are born, that's all. Yoga Vasishta says, Tena, Bhagavad Gita. Gita says, Tena muhyanti jantavaha. Because of ignorance, the jantu gets deluded. Till he attains Atmajnanam, he is a deluded person, and deluded person is called a jantu. He is a mere creature, that's all. He is breathing. It's like Bhagavata says, it is like the bellows. Just Tamil Turuti. Like that, the wind is coming out and going inside, that's all. So no viveka, no discrimination, nothing. So for such creatures, amongst such creatures, getting a human body is very, very rare. Jantunam narajanma durlabham. Actually, Swami Ramanacharanatirtha has spoken very beautifully one sentence where he says, God sleeps in rocks. He takes breath in plants, moves about in animals, wakes up to consciousness in man. A human being becomes a human being only when God wakes up to consciousness. The jnanam arises within him. So a human body, Bhagavata also says, Bhagavan was creating everyone from the lowest creature. He started creating, but he was unhappy. Taihi atushta hridayaha. There was no tushti, there was no happiness for Bhagavan by creating. At last, Purusham vidhaya, after creating the human being, Brahmavaloka dishanam, not because the human being can invent, discover, all scientific explosions can happen. You can go to space, send satellites, send human beings there. You can go underneath the ocean. All these things are done. No. That is not the thing. See, these are all siddhis. They are all occult powers, When first the electric train came, not electric train, the normal train came, in Kerala, many Brahmins did not get into it because they called it as abhichara. Said it's all black magic. Actually, it is black magic. We think that they are ignorant because black magic means utilizing the power in nature for one's pleasure, which will later on create problems. That is, of course, creating problems. So, samadhau upasargaha vyutthane siddhayaha. This is Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Patanjali says it is an obstacle to samadhi, but in the waking state it will appear as great achievement. For others it will appear as great achievement, but for me it will be an obstacle for me to abide, to become quiet. So all these powers are like that. Outwardly it will be great display of one's skill, but inwardly the mind is refusing to go to the source. That is the problem. So jantunam narajanma durlabham, the human birth is very rare, because when you become a human being, there is a chance that you can one day ask, what is my real nature? There is a chance that when the mind becomes pure, when the purity comes, chitta shuddhi, all the sadhanas, japa, dhyana, puja, everything is for what? Vivekachudamani, later on it will come. The only purpose is purify the mind sufficiently so that the inquiry will happen within. Atma vichara will happen. So this Manushya Janma is very, very rare. Don't mistake. Next word, that is why I already told that is traditional text. Pumstvam, a man body. It is not man body, it is, Vidyaranya Swami says, if a woman becomes a Vedanta Jnani, she is a Smashruvan Purusha. He says she is like a man with a big moustache. Because she is really brave. So here Pumstvam means that manliness, what they say is that willpower. Because naturally in the old society, man was more free. Whether it is right or wrong, that is all different. He can openly go search for truth. Even now we find so many difficulties. So that in spite of being born as a human being, in spite of being born as a man, and there also as a Brahmana, Viprata, Brahmin. See, this is not that a person has to be born as a Brahmin, but what Shankaracharya says is, you are born here, you are born as a man, you are born as a Brahmin, still wasting your life. That is where he is coming. Because he is talking to them. He is talking to them. So he says, you are born as a Brahmin, Viprata. Because Brahmin has so many privileges. First of all, he need not toil for his livelihood. He is made free. Others have to help him. Other communities, they should help him. And he should, only thing that he has to do is study the Vedas, do is tapas. Brahmanasya hi dehoyam chudra kamaya neshyate. Krichraya tapase chehe pretya ananta sukhaya cha. The body of a Brahmin is not for indulging in petty pleasures. It is for intense austerity and to attain that infinite happiness. So, whoever is ready to do that is a Brahmana. Mahabharata, Vidura says, because Vidura was not a Brahmana. But there he says, if a person is ready to do that, he is a real Brahmana, Bhava Brahmana. And a Brahmin who is born as a Brahmin is only candidate for real Brahmanyam. He will attain his Brahmanatva only when Mumukshutvam comes. The longing to know Brahman, the longing to realize arises within him, then only he will become a true Brahmana. Tavat asya Brahmanyam gaunam. Shankaracharya says his Brahmanya is secondary. It is not true Brahmanya. So, the person after being born as a human being, as a man with freedom, and as a Brahmana, and after being born as Brahmana, people don't study Vedas. You can see around. They study something, and even in our childhood, they used to say, if you do Sandhya Vandanam regularly, your intellect will become very powerful. You do Japam of Gayatri. For what? You will get 100 marks in mathematics. And in those days, they will say, you will get a job in a bank. Not that you can study Veda, not that you can study Shastra. Nobody will encourage, because that was the time that they walked out. So, Tasmad Vaidika Dharma Marga Parata. He became a Vaidika Dharma Marga Para. He is leading the life of a Vaidika. As we say Hindu, it's a wrong name. Real name is Vaidika. That Vaidika Dharma. Vaidika Dharma is two. One is Pravritti Dharma, the second is Nivritti Dharma. Pravritti Dharma is householder's life. That Anushtana, chanting the Vedas, doing Ishtadevata Aradhana, studying the Vedas, teaching the Vedas, and living a very austere life. But he is a householder. He is the pravritti dharma. And one who attains jnanam and renounces everything, he walks out. He is the nivritti dharma, sannyasi, yati. So, dvividho hi vedokto dharma. These two are the Vedic paths. Actually, according to our scriptures, a person cannot be lifelong brahmachari. Either he should be a grihastha after some time, or he should take sannyasa. Not even one day the person should stay without an ashrama. Because once they study Vedas and come out, they are no more brahmacharis also. People don't know this secret. Once they study Vedas and come out, then they don't belong to any ashrama. So this is the general principle the Shastras say. So the person brahmachari bhutva grihi bhavet, grihi bhutva vani bhavet, vani bhutva pravrajet. Brahmachari, grihastha, vanapastha, sannyasi. So this is the order. Or directly from brahmacharya one can become a sannyasi. Athava brahmacharyadeva grihadva vanadva. Any time the person can absolutely renounce and walk for this highest purpose, provided the person is qualified for that, where there is intense vairagya is there. So this vairagya and attainment of jnanam, swanubhavaha, vaidika dharma marga parata, vidvatvam asmat param. No, they will study Vedas, but they will not even know Sanskritam. They can just chant like a recording, that like a tape recorder, but they do not know anything about it. So to know the meaning is greater. Then what? Then Atmanatma Vivechanam. Then the person recognizes, after studying the Vedas, after doing all karma, after going through the sacrifices, he comes to a state where he finds that he cannot attain the highest fulfillment by doing. The doing and getting is very limited. Nasti akritaha kritena. He explores all the planes achievable, attainable through action. Then he finds that the action is limited, the actor is also limited, and the fruit is very, very limited. So it's a circle. And you know, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, this is another name for death. Because you are caught in it, you will never jump out of death. The doership, the enjoyership, and the limitation of it is mrityoho rupani. It is mrityu. So the definition of death is not the body clinically dying. No. Definition of death is action is another name for death. Bhagavan says in talks, body is another name for death. He says that body is another name for death. As we said last day, Bhagavan's death experience is a wrong name actually. It is not death experience. It is the experience of deathlessness. He tried to experience death, but he failed. He wanted to see whether death is there. Then he found it is not there. So it is the experience of immortality, deathlessness. So, Atmanatma Vivechanam, the discrimination between the non-self and the self, and Swa Anubhava, experiencing one's own self, knowing what is one's real nature. Brahmatmana samsthiti, abiding as that infinite, that Brahman, mukti, absolute freedom. Mukti, absolute freedom. No shatajanma koti sukritaihi punyair vina labhyate. That mukti, absolute jivan mukti, liberation, one will not get without hundred millions of births, cannot be had without earned merits of 100 crores of lives lived intelligently. Shatajanma koti sukritaihi punyair vina labhyate. And here Shankaracharya is not stopping. He is continuing, because the people whom he is addressing, they should be aware. Durlabham trayame vaitat. This verse is very famous, the third verse. Durlabham trayame vaitat. Chollama. Durlabham trayame vaitat.
Durlabham trayame vaitat.
Devanugraha hetukam.
Devanugraha hetukam.
Manushyatvam mumukshutvam.
Manushyatvam mumukshutvam.
Mahapurusha samshrayaha.
Mahapurusha samshrayaha.
This is a very well known verse in Vivekachudamani. Almost generally, people, when they give some talks, they will chant this verse in the beginning. They will say, 3 things are very rare. And the first is to be born as a man. Durlabham trayameva. Trayam means 3. English 3, here also trayam. Sometimes in Sanskrit also it will become 3. Triyavastha. Avastha trayam or Triyavastha. So 3 means 3. Sanskritam also it is like that. So all same family of languages. So Durlabham trayame vaitat. Devanugraha hetukam. It is a cause for Devanugraha, Ishvara's grace. What are those 3? First is Manushyatvam. He didn't say human birth. He said humanness. Difference is there. You are born as a human being. Once one monkey escaped from a city. It was living in a city. It somehow landed there. It went back to the forest. And when all other creatures in the forest, they asked the monkey, how are the human beings? He said, oh, you should not go there. Here we know if a tiger is a tiger, we know how it will behave. A fox is a fox, we know it will be how it will behave. A monkey is a monkey. But the human being, sometimes he behaves like a monkey, sometimes he is like a tiger, sometimes he is like a cow, sometimes he is like a fox. You can never predict him. So he is not a human being. He is a collection of all the creatures that has happened before. It's actually scientifically like that. All the creatures are there in the human being. And slowly wash one by one, one by one, one by one. At last, only humanness exists. Humanness means what? A little bit of animal is there. But you are ready to jump to godhood, the divine state. So there, the mumukshutva. See, that is why Bhagavan's Ashtotram, there is one nama for Bhagavan. Vishwanatha Swami has written. One nama is Amartyaya Namaha. He is not a Martya, he is not a mortal, he is a Deva. Because they never felt that he is a human being. That is the height to which a human being can arise. Swami Vivekananda's very beautiful words, where he says, each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest that divinity. You can do it in your own way. Education is the manifestation of perfection that is already within you. The religion is a manifestation of divinity that is already within you. So it is already there. So Manushyatvam, a good person, noble person. Then what? Mumukshutvam, a fire arises within him. On one side he becomes aware that there is suffering. On another side, he knows there is a solution for it. So he is ready to renounce every non-essential things for the attainment of the highest. Yadahareva virajet tadahareva pravrajet. When that vairagya, intense dispassion arises within him, to realize the highest, to realize God, to realize Atma Brahman. So, mumukshutvam, mokshecha. Vivekachudamani will go on define all those things. We will see. It will define what is mumukshutvam. But generally, to be born as a human being and to have the longing for spiritual life. You have to generally know like that. Longing for spiritual life, that is Bhagavad Kripa. Bhagavad Kripa, people say, because of Bhagavan's Kripa, Bhagavan gave me good marks in school. He gave me good marks in college. Because of his Kripa, he gave me good job, then good husband or wife, then good children. These are all Bhagavad Kripa. But Bhagavata, Bhagavan took away everything from Mahabali. A big king, very prosperous, very mighty ruler. Everything was taken away from him. He is standing there pauper. And Brahma comes and asks, what have you done to him, Bhagavan? Bhagavan says, whomever I love, I do like this. So we will decide. We don't want Kripa. We don't want Kripa. It is very dangerous. So, Devanugraha Hetukam, the real Anugraha of Bhagavan, Mumukshutvam. Parikshit, that Bhagavata story, the king was cursed by a Brahmana that on the 7th day he will die by snake bite. And he says, this is Bhagavad Kripa. Otherwise, when will dispassion come to me? I will be indulging in all worldly things. I will never become dispassionate. Now, this boy cursed me, it is not a curse, it is anugraha, he says. Because of his anugraha, now I have decided, now nothing else, just go to the bank of Ganga, sit there, wait for the master. So this is Bhagavad Kripa. So Devanugraha is, this fire arises within. See, Bhagavan's life, born as a human being. One day suddenly, this longing arose mysteriously. He asked, I am going to die. And who is dying? This is mumukshutvam. His mumukshutvam was all few minutes. 1 minute mumukshutvam, 2nd minute mukta. That is a very rare phenomenon. But Bhagavan himself in letters says, perhaps I have done all the preconditions in my last birth. All sadhanas are finished. Because slowly, Viveka has to give you vairagya. You see the worldly life. You see what all things are happening. And very, very slow way, gentle way. Shanaihi uparamed. As Bhagavan says in Gita. Slowly withdraw. Clean yourself. Let the dispassion arise. Let the awakening arise within you slowly. So that is what happened in... Generally that happens. But in Bhagavan's case, all that was collected and at last it just exploded in 1 minute. So this mumukshutvam, we are all mumukshus in various degrees. So mumukshus, we have come to Tiruvannamalai, we have come to Ramanacharanatirtha, we have come to Bhagavan's teaching, and we are also struggling in our own way to get it. So that mumukshutvam is there. Durlabham devanugra manushyatvam mumukshutvam. And after this, when this longing for liberation arises, this itself is Atma Kripa. Shankaracharya says, for successful completion, fruition of life, one need Atma Kripa and Guru Kripa. Guru Kripa from outside, Atma Kripa from within. So, Labdha Guruvatma Prasadanam Nataf Param Suviknyayam Asti. He says, those who have got the Kripa of Atma and Kripa of Guru, nothing is more simple than this self-knowledge. Then you can say, Aye Ati Sulabham Atma Vidyai. Then you will say this, that Atma Vidya is two people only said Atma Vidya is Sulabham. One is Bhagavan. The other is Prahlada said in Bhagavata. He said, it is very, very Sulabham. He got it from the womb. So he came out as Prahlada in bliss. So he said it is very easy because Bhagavan is your own Atma. It is Sulabha. So this Saulabhya, this because of Mumukshutva. When the person is Mumukshu, the third qualification is you get the proximity of a Jivan Mukta, a liberated being, a Brahmanishta. When you have the proximity of a Jivan Mukta, the person, if he gets all the three, that human birth and liberation. When we see Bhagavan's life, human birth also is not very important because he says Lakshmi got liberated. But this Mumukshutvam and Mahapurusha Samshraya, that contact with a Mahapurusha is a very rare opportunity. Sometimes even animals get liberated when they come to a Mahapurusha. In Ramayana you see that Jatayu, that bird, he did a service to Rama, and Rama just embraces that bird and he says, I am ordering you go to that highest world. And he says to Lakshmana, don't think that Mahatmas are there only in human body. Sarvatra khalu drishyante sadhavo dharmacharina shuraha sharanyaha saumitre tiryagyo nigateshvavi. Even in animals and birds you can see sages. This contact with a sage, contact with a realized person is the greatest attainment that one can have in life. In Bhagavata, Krishna tells Uddhava, in the Uddhava Upadesha, he says, Sugopyam api vakshyami, I will reveal to you a great hidden secret. I am revealing it to you because you are my friend, you are my beloved. Hence I am revealing to you the secret. What is the secret? He says, you cannot attain me by doing sadhana. You cannot attain me by doing great yoga practice, great study, great yaga, yajna. As you can attain me by contact with saints, by satsanga. So this Krishna tells us a great secret. Bhagavan also used to, many places he referred to this. He even told his own friend Rangan one day. Rangan was worrying so much. He had so much debt. So Bhagavan sat near him in midnight. Bhagavan sat near him and said, you have got a human birth and have got association of a Jivan Mukta. He didn't say me, but he just said this. You got association of a Jivan Mukta. What else is needed for you? So this is great boon, great blessing. So, Durlabham Treme Vaitat Devanugraha Hetukam. Shankaracharya was born in Kerala. There he got the longing for liberation. Then for the sake of getting the proximity of a Jivan Mukta, he walked the entire distance to Madhya Pradesh. In those days, to get liberation. So, this is Durlabham Trayamevaitat Devanugraha Hetukam Manushyatvam Mumukshutvam Mahapurusha Samshrayaha. Actually, when Mumukshutvam comes, when Ramakrishna says, it is like the dawn before sunrise. Because when you see the golden hue, the eastern horizon, you know soon sun will rise. Like that, when the person feels the longing, if he is a bhakta, he will feel, I want to see God. I want bhakti. He will have hunger for the divine love. So when that arises, that is a sign that soon he will have that Bhagavad Sakshatkar. Like that, in Vedanta Jnana also, one suffers and dispassion arises and decides to attain Jnanam. And that energy will attract a Jivan Mukta there. Without that energy inside, even if you have the proximity of a great teacher, you will not value it. Ramakrishna used to say, right underneath a lamp there will be darkness. The light will fall in a little distance. So, if you have to utilize that benefit of a great master, certainly you should know the worth of it. For that only this verse is given in the beginning. Bhagavan also says about Arunachala. Arivarum giriyana amartarum amma. He says this hill looks like a inert rock. It looks like rocks and boulders. But it is not so. Atishayamitan shayal. You don't know how it operates in the human mind. He can give you the highest jnanam even by recollecting his form. So, this is the Mahatmya Kathana. After this, Shankaracharya comes back. He says, Labdhva katam chin narajanma durlabham tatrapi pumstvam shruti paradarshanam Yastvatma muktau nayateta mudadhihi Sahyatmaha swam vinihanti asadgrahat. Alaki padichunnaram. Labdhva katham chit. Somehow he got a human birth. Just like government school putting pass. Even you get 0, you go up to 10th. Like that, we have come like this. We can say to Bhagavan, even by 0 mark, the school people, they have passed me. Like that, give me liberation. So, there is a song in Malayalam like that. A child is praying to God that girl near me, she got 0 mark, even she got pass. So why don't you give me also pass? There is a song. So, Labdhva katham chin narajanma. Somehow you have got this human body. Durlabham, very rare to get. Tatrapi pumsvam. There also you have got sufficient willpower. Shruti paradarshanam. The chance to study the scriptures. The chance to study the Veda or Shruti, actually Upanishads itself. Then, after studying that, people, great scholars, they have studied even all the Vedanta Granthas, they will go to debate. And there they will go get gold ring, gold bracelet, gold chain. And in Ramakrishna Mat, about 40 years back, one big scholar used to come and study a Ramakrishna Mat, where I know. And he had rings in every finger. Every finger. And the brahmacharis, of course, they are all very mischievous. So they will be studying and he will say, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. He will say like that. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. He will say. And these brahmacharis will say, Jagat is Mithya, but his gold rings are all real. It's all real. So Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. So even after studying this, many scholars I know, they do not even believe that this is practical. They have studied to the highest texts, but they do not even believe. One great scholar was teaching. Very great scholar. I was also there. So very dry. Tarka Grantha. Nyaya Grantha, very dry Tarka Grantha. He was teaching. So everyone was feeling sleepy also. So one boy who was sitting like this, he lost his hold and his chin got hit and there was blood there, that much sleep. So I told him, hey, this is not Vedanta, we have to experience this. And you know what he told me? He told nobody is there who has experienced. So much he has studied, so much God. Nobody is there who have got the experience. Then I really wanted to tell him. Then I told him, I know many who have the experience, who have one. Just thought for will they look at your palm and say, palmistry, about your future? That is jnanam. For such a great scholar, jnanam means all these silly things. So it's quite possible, like the computer, you also have, everything has entered your head, but nothing has entered your heart. That is why we said, Jnatva manasa hridaja bhuyo na mrityum upayahi vidvan. Yesterday we said, by knowing with your intellect, with your mind, with your being, by experience. As in Gita, Krishna said, Tad buddhayaha, tadatmanaha, tannishtaha, tat parayanaha, gachanti apunaravartyam, jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. With your intellect you have to absorb, with your mind you have to absorb, with your being you have to absorb, then you will no more take birth. So this is the essence of it. So, yastu atma muktau nayateta. Now, in this exactly here, we have a question. One person asked me, I have seen many who have read Vedanta very vastly. They know Vivekachudamani, Panchadashi and even Bhashyas. They also proclaim, we know Vedanta, but their life doesn't correlate with their knowledge. We can see that they have not attained peace. Why this is so? This is the question. When I read this question, I was reminded about Jivan Mukti Viveka. Vidyaranya Swami, centuries back, is discussing this problem, where he is saying, Upasya sakshatkarya paryantam upastim kritva yadi jnane pravarteta tada vasanakshaya manonashayor dridhataratvena jnanad urdvam vidvat sannyasa jivan mukti swatayeva siddhyataha. Very beautiful. Vidyaranya Swami says, the secret of attainment of the highest. Some people, when they listen, they attain. Not even manana or nididhyasana. They need not even do after that some contemplation or meditation. Shushrushubihi takshanat. The moment they listen, they attain. That kind of simplicity is there in Jnanam, but some others, even though they listen, even though they study, even though they are able to teach others, they by themselves, they are not able to attain that calmness, that shanti. What is the problem? So here, Vidyaranya Swami, who was a Shankaracharya of Sringeri long back, he says how a person becomes qualified to attain the highest realization very easily. In the tradition, generally, they do intense upasana, meditation on some Ishtadevata, that is bhakti. It is bhakti. They are true bhaktas and they go to the extent of having the vision of the divine whom they are meditating. Upasya sakshatkara paryantam upastim kirtva. Till they attain the sakshatkara of upasana murti, then they come to jnana. Their mind is absolutely focused, no distraction, it is not scattered. Through true genuine love, through bhakti, they are completely one-pointed, no distraction. In that state, when they come to jnana, tada, then vasanakshaya manonashane nashayohu dridhataratvena. They have no vasana. Their mind is already very peaceful. Through their meditativeness, through their upasana, they have attained a very focused mind. No distraction of desires inside them. Then, if they listen to this jnanam, that very moment they become liberated. Vidvat sannyasa jivan mukti. They become sannyasi. They become realized sannyasis, not simple sannyasi. Not a sannyasi who is taking sannyasa to attain. He is called vivitisha sannyasi. He is taking the path to attain. But after attainment, a person becomes a monk, a sannyasi. That person is called vidvat sannyasi. And he has no vasana, no obstacle of desires. And his mind is very calm, vishranta, restful. He is a jivan mukta. That is the difference, In Bhagavan, common people, how did they recognize him? Not by his knowledge, but by his restfulness, his calmness, his shanti, samadhi. So that samadhi accompanied by clarity, by jnanam. So the jnanam and samadhi happens in a person who has done sufficient bhakti, sufficient upasana. Tadrisha eva shastrabhimato mukhyo vidyadhikari. Vidyaranya Swami says such a person, the Shastras say, is a true adhikari, qualified to attain the highest very quickly. And in those days, about 600 years ago, Vidyaranya says, Idanintanaha tu. You know what he says? He says, the modern seekers are, he says, the seekers nowadays, prayena akrutopasthayaha, generally have not done sufficient upasana, have not sufficient bhakti, upasana, meditation on a form or japa, dhyana, they have not sufficiently completed that. Prayena akrutopasthayaha. Tatayeva Autsukya out of simple curiosity, Autsukya means curiosity, out of simple curiosity, Sahasa Vidyayam Pravartante. They read some book, Who Am I? Or attain realization in 1 week course. Go to Tiruvannamalai, attain realization, go back to your same place. So they are ready for that. So they have not completed the prerequisites, and this sahasa means suddenly one day you find he publishes enlightened. Sahasa means suddenly. He says sahasa autsukya matrena jnane pravart. Simple, out of simple curiosity, reads some books and says, I have attained. Vidyayam pravartante vasanakshaya manonashau tatkalikau sampadayanti. Temporary. For the time being, you will feel that they have got something. Because when they come here, their mind becomes very quiet, they meditate, they do everything. But tatkalikau, Vidyaranya Swami says, temporary. For some time, see, this is good diagnosis. So, tatkaliko, for the time being, their mind is quiet and they say, we are not desiring, we don't want anything else. Vasanakshaya manonashau tasmat idanintananam. For the modern seekers, is for the seekers who are nowadays, vidvat sannyasinam jnanasya anuvritti matram. Although they are knowledgeable, perhaps they have not taken to the path of sannyasa also, their simple knowledge is there, not vasanakshaya or manonasha. That should be, the person has to put great effort after that for attaining it. If the person comes prepared, one instant everything is over. But if it is not happening, somehow clarity is there, somehow you know what it is, but you are not able to rest, you are yourself not content with that jnanam, there is some problem inside, then you have to rectify that. Partial surgery is not good. Bhagavata says it is partial surgery. Asadu chikitsa. He says the chikitsa is done not perfectly, not good way. So that the chikitsa, the treatment will become more problem than the disease. So this is the problem. So it is not the question of the effectiveness of the knowledge. The knowledge is certainly effective, but the person should be ready to receive that. And also, if you are receiving the knowledge, along with that, there should be all the prerequisites. And if the prerequisites are not there, prayatnena sampadyo, he says with great effort, you have to rectify the flaws. You have to prepare the body-mind to, body-mind cannot help, but it can obstruct. So, to remove that obstacle, whatever has to be given up, how to slowly, not suddenly, in a very gentle way, the person should prepare his body-mind for the highest state. That should be done. So, this is the thing. So, Shankaracharya here says, Labdhva katanchid narajan madurlabham. Although you are born as a human being, and you have got all this chance for spiritual knowledge, you have come to Tiruvannamalai, you have got this good understanding of spirituality, then also you are not ready for liberation. You are not ready for the takeoff. You are wasting your life in some other things. Such a person is mudadhihi. He is a fool. Shankaracharya says he is a fool because he is committing spiritual suicide. Atmanam vinihanti. He is killing himself. He is allowing his spiritual longing which he has got this life. He is making it rust. So, the purpose of these verses is to intensify our longing for realization. Nothing else. The purpose of all these verses is to be sincere in our spiritual search, not to simply think that spiritual life, spiritual field is another field where you can become famous. It is better if you can go and act in some cinema, you will be more famous. For that, spiritual life is not needed. Spiritual life is for that shanti, freedom from all this bondage, true liberation. That is why you can see Buddha's life, born as a prince, he found, he says, the house is on fire, how can I stay there? So that kind of longing for liberation. Vedanta says it is not the house that is on fire, your head is on fire. Pradipta shiraha jalarashimiva. He says Pradipta shiraha. The head is carrying fire. So you are searching for water which can give you that shanti, that peace. So this is Pradipta shiraha jalarashimiva samitpanihi shrotriyam brahmanishtam upagachet. So this is it. So when that comes, one will know the value of jnanam. Then great gratitude will arise from the heart, and that gratitude is bhakti. That is Guru Bhakti. Bhagavan tells Arunachala, Parinil Viradi Ejaye Kathu Un Padathil Irutti Vaitanaye. Without your grace, I would have fallen into that sewage. Before I could fall there, you pulled me out, made me abide in this state. Unpadathil, in your state. So that grace, that krupa, great gratitude arises from the heart. And that gratitude is bhakti. When that gratitude arises, love arises, bhakti arises. So that we will continue tomorrow. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala.